The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi there. If everyone can hear me, I'm just about to unmute everyone, so you have then got control over your own microphone. So if you want to mute yourself again, please do, and I'll do introductions in just a minute. Hi there. Can everyone hear me? Hi, is everyone there? Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. Hi. I think someone's got quite a bit of background noise.
I've got to do this, sorry.
No, you're right. So hi everyone, I'll just quickly introduce myself and then kind of get you guys to do the same. So my name's Amy, I'm a Digital Solutions Manager for City and Guilds. I started off as an assessor at IQA, then came over to City and Guilds in the quality department, and now my role is to do all the training and implementation of Learning Assistant platform to centre managers, assessors, IQAs, etc. So today I think we're going to go over the assessor webinar session. Can I just ask you guys to introduce yourself? I think Laura, I know that me and you have had a session before. Sorry, Jessica. I've just muted Jessica just because I think that's the background noise.
It is. I've asked her to come down and do it here with me.
Okay, cool. Okay, sorry, Laura. Carry on.
It's all right. No, I spoke to you last week, and I am the centre lead at family care for City and Guilds.
Lovely, yeah.
I don't know who else we've got with us.
I've got Kerry.
Hi.
Hi, Kerry.
Hi, you're right. A bit strange. Yeah, I apologise if I get any background noise. I'm at home on the laptop, so I've shut the dogs out. So fingers crossed we'll be all right. But,
it sounds pretty good at the moment.
I'm from Lith Hill. No, Deputy Manager at Lith Hill.
Okay, lovely. I've got Jonathan.
Hi, I'm John from Links, Deputy Manager at Links, Training Assessor.
Okay, fab. And Jeff.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm the manager at Links House.
Right, lovely. Okay, great. So that's everyone. And then I think Jessica's coming down to you, Laura. So if you want to just give me a shout when she's here. First of all, I'll just share my screen. If everyone can just let me know that they can see that, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. So I'll get cracking. Any questions as we're going along, please just feel free to interject and shout. I know.
Sorry, but I haven't got the screen.
You haven't got the screen yet?
No, I'm connected to you.
Okay, what is it you can see at the moment?
I can see let's get started.
Okay, let me just, I'll reshare it. Sometimes it could be in a pop-up box at the bottom.
Jess is with me now. Hello.
Hello, you okay?
Yes, thank you.
Have you all got the screen now?
No.
Yes.
Still not?
No. I've only got the let's get started page.
Okay, and there's nothing on the internet pop-up box at the bottom or anything?
No.
Oh, Jeff.
I know.
It's hard because I can't see your screen to be able to help.
Oh, what have I done?
Let's see, it says not attentive on your thing. Let's have a look.
No, I'm definitely paying attention.
Let me have a look.
Have you got the little like snowflakey symbol, Jeff, on it?
Yeah. Down the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you click on that, what does it do?
City and Guilds, login.
There you go.
Okay.
That's the
you
one.
can make it bigger. You can do it in full screen mode.
Yeah, done it.
They are.
Yeah, so we'll...
The City and Guilds logo, yeah?
That's the one.
Yeah.
It should say Demo Amy Learning Assistant.
Yep.
Fab. So you have got my screen, which is great. So I think, Laura, did you manage to get everyone a login set up from our last session, or just not yet?
Yes, I did. I need to send it to them all.
Right, lovely. So everyone, after this session, you'll get a link to your own Learning Assistant URL, and that will have your username and your password in. So within that, your URL, I think yours at the top is family care, is it, Laura? I think. Yeah. So you'll get that sent out and you can click through and it will open up. This is my demo site, so that's why it's got the City and Guilds logo, not your logo. But usually your login will be your first name dot and then your surname. For me, I've done this one as Assessor, and then your password, and then it will take you into the homepage. There we go. So this is the homepage that we're going to go through. So like I say, stop me if you have any questions, anything that you want me to repeat or slow down. We've got time booked in until, I think it's about 12:30 or something. Generally over the webinars they do go a little bit quicker, so don't be too alarmed if it does finish early. All it means is that it gives you an opportunity to go away and have a play and press the buttons, which I think is what I would recommend. And then once you've kind of had a go, then please feel free to contact me on my number, my email, etc., or the support team in Glasgow, which will share all that information out with you. You know, because we can do another webinar after you've been using it a little bit to sort of go over anything additional. This webinar is recorded, so if you want me to send over the recording afterwards so you've got a refresher, then do let me know as well.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is your homepage for Learning Assistant. So the first thing is in the top left-hand corner, you've got that little person, which is what we call the avatar. And if you click in there, you've got some options to have a look down. So your avatar picture, so you can change the picture to yourself if you want. You can change your password. And you've got notifications and preferences. The first thing we would say is go into notifications. Make sure your email address is in that top box. And for now, until you're used to kind of logging in and using Learning Assistant, turn everything on. So yes, daily, turn all your notifications on, because then once you start seeing what comes through, then you can start turning them off for the things that you don't need to see, and you know what kind of things are coming through and how often. So turn your notifications on to start with, and then once you're used to it, you can turn them on. The only thing to notify is that some of them say, do you want a daily digest? If you ever say that, please don't ring me and shout at me. It has happened when at 2 o'clock in the morning, if you have your phone next to your bed and it pings because you've got an email, it does come through at that time in the morning because it's the least active time in the system. So it's the most accurate data at that time. But yes, we have had some people complaining that it has woken them up in the night when their phone pinged. So just to let you know that is the time for Daily Digest. Your preferences, that is how you want to see the site. So you might need the text a little bit bigger or smaller, the icons to be solid colours rather than outlines. We set everything as donut charts, but if you want bar charts, etc., that can all be changed. Hotkeys, you can have them on and off. If you don't know what they are, you can click on them to find out which sort of short links take you to. And then you've got learner preferences down here, which will be your learner overview panel, which I'll come to. You can choose the bits that you see within that overview, so you can make the system look how you want it to look. Okay, so onto your homepage. So you've got a sort of introduction, like a welcome text at the top. Sometimes that will have like a green box or a red box underneath that we have sent to you from Learning Assistant to give you, you know, we might have some maintenance, there might be a bit of downtime, we might have some upgrades and some new features. That will all kind of come displayed in the top. On the right hand side, you've got news and events. So this is where your centre manager may put in some news and events like articles or standardizations happening. These are your documents that you need, EQAs coming, whatever it might be. they can go through to the side and you can click on them and it will take you to the news and events page, and it will give you an overview of what that piece of news or event is and the detail behind that. Okay. On the assessor tasks, so the top bit you've got awaiting evidence review, and then the second bit you've got awaiting review. Now the difference between these two is quite important, and I have got a document that shows the evidence upload to make this a bit easier for you and your learners. So awaiting evidence review is when a learner has uploaded a piece of work. So it might be a bank of questions, a workbook, a start of a project, a piece of evidence that they want some feedback on. That will sit here for you to review and feedback on. Awaiting review is when your learner has said, I think and I believe that everything in this unit is now done and I'd like to claim competence in this unit. I'll show you what that looks like through the process in a moment. Verify referrals, so if you've got a qualification and you still require IQA, any referrals will come down here for you to action. And overdue is when you've set your learner some work and they still haven't done it in time, and it will tell you when you set that deadline for. Okay.
Lovely.
Okay, so going along the top, if you're a verifier as well, then you'll have verified tasks, but we'll come back to that at a later time. We'll just focus on the assessor at the moment. Messages is an internal email message system between all of you. Sometimes you get things from Learning Assistant team. So this one, City and Guild Digital Assessment CPD, things like this is just to let you know about the stuff that's happening within City and Guilds. So this is CPD days for Learning Assistant that we're putting on and what they cover, and if you wanted to attend any of them events. So things like that will appear. It's not, you know, anything to force any marketing on you. It's just to let you know that this might help with your delivery of qualifications using Learning Assistant.
Okay.
Appointments, so this is up and coming appointments, reviews and overdue reviews. This is going to be enhanced slightly in the summer, I think July, August time. For reviews at the moment, it's for you to kind of upload your own review document or just comment in there. You will be able to build your own review forms into the review function by, I'm sure it's July, because it started around the Welsh delivery, so that will be enhanced soon. When that does get enhanced, this little megaphone in the top left hand side will start like shaking to say that there's a notification. When you click on it, you can say take tour, and it will tour you around what's new and how to do that. If you still get stuck, then give us a call. Okay, so resources. Laura, can you remember me saying on your super user in the system side of things, and you can upload all your generic resources, like your safeguarding, prevent, handbooks and stuff, that will all sit in this tab here. Okay, so the thing that you will all have is YouTube resources. When you click on there, there's just mini YouTube videos that me and some of the people that I work with, we've done, you know, some little how-tos. So if you forget how to set up your homepage or how to contact your learner, these are little how-to videos so that you can pause and do it at the same time, and they're only sort of like 2 to 10 minutes depending on the task. So you'll all have that in there.
Amy, on the appointments bit, so if you make an appointment with your learner on there, do they have access to that as well?
Yes.
Or is this just for you to manage yourself?
Yeah, no, they have access to that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, this is just the overview. I'll show you how to set up an appointment in this separate, but yeah, it does go into the learner bit.
Right.
Okay, and then the last one is LA Anywhere, which is a bit of an info of your phone and your tablet app. So when you open it up, it will ask you for your username, your password, and your instance, I think it's called, and that it's just saying that your instance, mine is to be demo Amy, yours would be whatever your end of your URL is, so family care, etc. So it's just how to download that. The apps are fantastic for evidence gathering, for contact diary entries, and for acknowledgements, which are all things that we're going to come to, but definitely download and have a play with the app. It's something that is used more and more. It's in the CPD days of how to record evidence digitally. I think there's more demand for the apps these days, especially for younger and remote users. And then the last one at the bottom is "and for your desktop," it says, which is download LA Anywhere. This is like a basic version of Learning Assistant that you can download onto your desktop, which means that if you're out somewhere with no Wi-Fi, or it's a remote area, or you can't sync up, if you've got this downloaded, you can upload evidence, feedback, and give contact diary entries. And then when you get back to the internet, you open it up, press sync, and then it will sync back to this web version, which then feeds into your reporting, etc., etc. So that's for your, that's the benefit of that one. So you can download that and have a play with it whenever you like. At the bottom of every Learning Assistant page, you've got terms and conditions of use. Change log. This is a new feature. So this is anything that gets updated and changed within the system. So like the CPD days that are being advertised at the moment, we did them, or I did them sort of about, it was probably in January time. And on the back of some feedback that people wanted enhancements, changes, updates, etc., we changed all these 15 things. And we've done a little video of what's changed and how. So this will just give you a really nice overview of all them updates that we, and show that we kind of listen to your feedback as well. Any bug fixes, anything like that, will all go into the change log. Customer support. So this is a direct email to the digital support team up in Glasgow if you've got anything that you want to email them for. Submit an idea. This opens up a page where anything that you want, if you've got a good idea about Learning Assistant, if you want some development or enhancements, etc., you will feed that into this. So, if it's usability, productivity, reporting, you can put in what your idea is or what you want, what that will solve, or what value it would add. When that comes through to us, then that goes directly to the product manager, and she looks at that every 6 weeks and then puts it into sort of categories, and then she'll look at how much has been requested, how easy it is, what the developments are, and she'll start putting that into the roadmap to be able to build and change Learning Assistant around what you kind of want and what your ideas are. So if you have anything that you want to feed in, then feel free, you can do 101 of them if you want. She will look at them all.
I'm sure she'd be thrilled with 101.
Oh, she always knows when I've been out and done training, because this one centre that I'll be doing, I'll go put it in the report, and then she goes, "Amy, you've been out with the centre, like, stop it." So, yeah, feel free to do it. If at any time you've got a problem with Learning Assistant, if it's not doing something, say you're trying to upload a piece of evidence or something, then you can press report a problem down here. This will go straight to our team in Glasgow, who will look at it as a priority. It tells them what page you were on, the URL that you used, the server you were on, what windows. So I'm on Internet Explorer, so it will tell them that. And if you just put in a description, like what your issue is and what you were trying to achieve, so that they can replicate that issue to find out if it's something that we need to fix or if it's something you need to talk to your IT department about. So if you do that direct, then we can help you resolve that problem as quick as possible. Okay. Have you got any questions on your homepage?
No.
Okay. I know there's a lot on it, but it's because we like everything to be really easy for you to find rather than loads of clicking around. Okay.
Yep, good. Yep.
So just going to skip over learners at the moment. So news and events, that's what I've already shown you. From the homepage, it takes you to exactly that same part. Okay. So there's some additional functionality in Learning Assistant, and I'm going to touch on them, but not go into too much detail, because I do think that with it being such a big change to the system and the platform, like getting this, a whole new e-portfolio, these things won't be the first thing you want to action within your centre. So forums. I know you all know what a forum is. It's a way to communicate between learners and assessors, etc. So each course has got its own forum that you've got built, and then you can create a thread and communicate with all your learners as in how you want. Just to be aware, this will go out to every learner on that course rather than a cohort. We are going to make it so it goes by cohort, so you can send it to like your own learners if there's a few of you assessing the same program. But the forums function is there. If you don't think it's useful, you don't want it, it's not something you're going to use, you can let us know and we'll remove that forums functionality off for you. You can always add it on at a later date.
Lovely.
CPD. Now, recording your CPD, when I was an assessor, at the end of every month, I'd get a complete telling off from my IQA saying you still haven't uploaded your CPD for the month, and I'd fill out a really dodgy Word document saying that I've maybe watched a bit of Bake Off and I've made a roast dinner for my mum because I was hospitality, so it was just whatever I could put in because it felt like another thing and another place to do. So we've built in a CPD log that you can fill in whilst you've got learning assistance. So if you're in standardisation sessions, if you're in any training, if you're in standardisation especially, you might need your learners' portfolios up and, the courses and all the units. So in here at the same time, you can just have this open and be filling out your CPD as you're going along. Standardisation, actions that you've got in it, functional skills reforms, that's always on people's lists at the moment. Digital assessments, reflection notes, so whatever that may be, resources on CNG website. So you can put that in as you're going along. Duration, so you might have done it for a full day, 5 hours including coffee. Activity date was maybe today, and then you can upload any additional documents that you've got. So it might be your minutes of meetings, any resources that you've had from the day. You can upload them into that CPD log, and then as you return to it, it gives you a rolling log of all that CPD. And when it was and how long you've spent on it. So, it's not an additional place for you to go to. Okay. Processes. Now, this is something that I definitely would say to it's probably a conversation in centre, and I know we've had that conversation, Laura, and it's something to maybe park to start with. But this is a time-bound process. So if a centre admin decides that it's milestones, functional skills, individual tasks that need to be signed off by you as an assessor per learner. So there is that question of is it another thing for an assessor to be doing? So for example, I've got workshops here for this learner, and I can either put comments in it in this, or I can just sign it off to say it's done. Okay, so that's kind of what that process looks like, and then you can see your recently completed list down below. So if that was for a whole load of learners, then you would see all the candidates. Okay, does that make sense to anyone, or do you need me to go into it a bit more?
That's fine.
Yeah, great. So sample summary we'll come back to again because that is assessing, verification, and appointments. You can go into your appointments calendar, and your appointments can all be put in here either by clicking in and creating an appointment, and filling in all the details that we'll come to. If the benefit of this is that it goes into your calendar, into your learner's calendar, and you can click on export. And yes, it's a manual export, but if you click on it, it will sync up to your Outlook calendar. Yeah, so unfortunately you can't bring it in here. You can't get your Outlook diary into this one because they won't open up the API bridge, whereas we do, if that makes sense. I can never get this worded right. but so
we do some kind of witchcraft and won't do it.
Yeah, so we let you send it across, but they won't give it back to us, I think is the right way to do it.
Being at Microsoft.
Yeah, so it's like their apps and stuff, because they're getting rid of forms at some point. They won't let us or anyone give them the new latest apps because they're getting rid of it. Okay. So you can export your stuff to them, but you can't bring your stuff into Learning Assistant.
No worries.
Thanks. So so then that's sort of like the home page and the bits of surrounding Learning Assistant. So now we're going to go into your learners and that process of you planning work, them doing some work, and then you feeding back. So on your learners tab, you can search learners by by course, by company, or if you just press search learners, it will give you a list of all of the learners that you've got on these courses. So it will be like this one, Apprenticeship Training Manual Commis Chef, all the learners, and then it will give you each course title and then who's on that course. You can change that in that preferences function that I was saying about. So your preferences, you might want to see it by learners, and then it would say that one learner and all the course that they're included on. And then this is that learner overview. So it tells you your units, the RAG rating, the progression, when they were last contacted. But all of them bits on that preferences, you can change what displays on this learner overview as to what you need. Okay. So I'm just going to go into, I've got a customer service learner that I just use as a demo because it's the easiest one to go as generic. So if you imagine the old paper folders where you've got the ring binders and you've got your like dividers in it, this is like their folder, and then you've got course, evidence, registration, and that's all the dividers within it. So on your home page, you've got your unit selection if you need to select any additional units. If you've got optional units, you would do it in here, and Learning Assistant will tell you when they've got at least enough credits for a level 2, for example, or a level 1, etc. Assessor declaration. So you would fill out when you click on Assessor declaration, it's you sign in that within the learner journey and the learner portfolio. Any assessor guidance if it's been uploaded in there. Email learner login details. You'll probably use that a lot because the learners will go, I've forgotten my login details, so you can just click it from there, and the learners can have their own CPD as well. Okay. So on here, this will change a little bit soon as well. So the progression at the moment is just what the learners started, what they have completed, and that's what you have assessed and said is competent, and what is expected. At the top, it will tell you who their verifier is, and sort of their start, end date, and the last time they logged in as well. So in their course, and obviously that when you kind of get your login and have your dummy learner, because you can have a test learner that you can play, like, have a play with, send them some planning and then get them to upload some work, so you can do that yourself. You'll see that you've got your units here, and then all your outcomes showing underneath, and it will give you the little ticks. So green tick is reviewed and accepted by the assessor, pink is verified, question mark has been referred, you've got a star, that means it's been started, and then you've got your submitted and awaiting review as a little paper aeroplane. But if you've also got that written down the side to support if if you're not visual and you want to read it, it's down there as well. Okay.
Yeah.
The coloured bar at the top, so orange is that whole bar. That whole unit has been referred. This pink one says that whole unit has been verified, and it will go, there you go, there's a green one that says that that unit has been assessed by your assessor. So going along the tabs, you've got your evidence folder. So this is where all evidence, no matter what type of evidence it is, it sits in this folder with the title, the type of evidence, which I'll come to how that's labelled in a moment, who uploaded it and when, and then you've got these bits down the side. Are you on New Standards at all that has any showcase portfolio?
Not as far as I'm aware.
Nope. So
no.
If you ever have showcase portfolio in the future, then this is just saying that you can highlight the bits that are that you want in the showcase, and you can download that as a zip file and then email it out to wherever. So that's what that is. These next bit is evidence reviewed. So when a learner has requested an evidence piece to be reviewed, then it will have that that clipboard will be a solid black colour. and you can click on that to review the evidence. When it's green with a little 1 or 2, that is how many times that piece of work has been reviewed and fed back.
Okay.
The evidence can be locked and unlocked, but the key to this is that like Learning Assistant sort of maybe 6 months ago, every time a learner got a piece of evidence that was referred and they needed to add to, it would create a new piece of evidence. So, this evidence piece number 9 might have been referred, and every time they uploaded another piece of evidence to say this replaces that one, it would have created evidence piece number 10, 11, 12, 13. Whereas now, once you've replaced it, there's that little backwards arrow. And then when you click on that, it gives you the version history. So it says this was the first piece of evidence they submitted. I reviewed it and fed back and said it wasn't good enough. So therefore, they then replaced it with this one. Can still see the first one, but it gives me that change log in here rather than creating a new piece of evidence.
Okay.
Okay. Lovely. Registration. So this is just registration details if you've put them into Learning Assistant. Contact diary. We're going to come back to this in a little bit more detail. This is sort of the bread and butter of your Learning Assistant. Reviews we've already touched on. You can create a review, and like I say, you'll be able to have your own inbuilt form in here as well. And then finally, your learner journey tab. So this is absolutely loved by auditors because it's a real nice snapshot of everything the learner does, from their units and where they're at, how many times they've logged in and when they last logged in. That's then broken down by month. And then you've got evidence types and evidence uploads by different users. So this helps you find out, your VARCs, making sure that there's a variety of evidence as well. The fact that that's all coloured it shows that. Evidence uploads by role. So this is saying that someone within the admin side or assessor, etc., has uploaded these pieces of evidence. Evidence uploads by user is by including the learner's uploads as well. So if you want to show that the portfolio is learner-led, this green bit will fill up more and more and more, showing that it's the learner that's actively uploading that work.
Okay.
And then, like I say, the contact diary being the bread and butter, that all feeds into here as well. And then you can filter that out. So if you want to see only let's say you've got a learner on who's claiming additional learner needs funding, you could have a look at all the supported learning that you've put in and have a look at everything that has been for additional learner needs. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's an overview. Any questions at the moment before I go into detail on the contact diary?
No.
Okay. So contact diary, like I said, this is where you start. You're in the learner, go into contact because the first thing you want to do is plan. So we're going to plan what that learner does by creating an entry. Now you will either have these 3 lines here, or if you make it a bit bigger, it will go into these 4 tabs at the top. So entry label, it's really important to have a look at these because it like I say, it filters out into that contact diary. So your supported learning, teaching and learning, planning, one-to-one reviews, etc. First thing I want to do is change it to planning. It says it will lock any outcomes. That just makes sure that the learner does accept the plan.
Okay.
Okay, so description, say, please do this work before the next visit, for example. Feedback, it might be including workbook and questions. Please try and gather a witness testimony. A meeting and appointment date. So I might want this I'm going to come out and see you on the 28th, for example. I want the learner to acknowledge that they've seen this, and I also want their manager to accept that they've seen this. I want them to do this for units 303 and 302. They're currently an amber learner, So if you do red, amber, green, or red rate your learners, then you can do that within the contact diary. And then you can see the summary of what you're asking them to do, and then press save. You can then create that appointment, which will then sit within your within that appointments type. You can have it as a general or a review, how many hours you think it's going to take, and save. Okay, so rather than your appointments being done sort of in that tab on top of contacting your learner, you can do it all in this one place.
Lovely.
Yeah. Is everyone happy with setting that plan?
Yeah.
So just to confuse you a little bit, I'm now going to log out of as the assessor and log into the learner. Okay. So this is my learner view. You don't need to know this in too much detail. Again, you've got news and events, forum, CPD as ever. They've got their homepage where it's anything that they're waiting for feedback from you, contact diary entries, and anything that they've overdue as well. So we could try and keep it the same view for you and for them. So as they can see here, it says please do this work before the next visit. So that's my plan. So I'm going to click on that and I can see what the description is, what they want me to do, the outcome that they are linking it to, and then down here it says requires acknowledgement. So that is your learner saying, right, I know that you want me to do something. I'm not doing it yet, but I'll acknowledge that I've seen that comment. And then it has time and date stamps when the learner's done that. The learner might go away, do a bit of work, this and the other, and then they can see that they need to do something in Unit 302. So they'll go into their course. Scroll down to Unit 302. And they can see that little book that says planning set. Now I've done some work that helps me understand how to gather, analyse and interpret customer feedback. So I'm going to go into that unit. I accept the plan and I'm going to upload some evidence for that. So I'm going to go Evidence Wizard. This is the same process for you and the learner should you want to upload any evidence on behalf of the learner, and I have got a document that I'll send you that does this sort of in like 5 easy steps. So you go upload evidence, browse files, 5 files. You can upload 5 pieces of evidence at a time. Could be PowerPoints, Word documents, videos, voice recordings, but yeah, 5 at a time. Details. So this could be 302 questions and witness testimony. Can put in some more description if they want. Type. Now we get them to kind of acknowledge what type that is. So because they've planned a witness testimony and questions, they should know that it's witness testimony and questioning. If they don't, we have got a don't know option for them. The evidence types can be edited. So if you have any other bits of evidence types that you want adding, removing, changing, then just email Glasgow in support and they'll change that for you. And then we get your learners to cross-reference. I know assessors panic when they see this, but don't, because you can remove the cross-referencing as well from what they've said, but it just evidences a little bit more that the learners know and understand what's required throughout their course. And because it's for Unit 302, they should be able to say, this piece of evidence, like you've asked me to, covers Unit 302. Yeah, but they might say, oh, it does a little bit in this one, I think. But again, like I say, you can remove that. So once they've done that, they press save. And this is where the difference comes. So when it says saving evidence, it will then come up, would you like to submit your piece of evidence for review? And I would probably have this conversation with your learners when you first start them on, when you do that induction and you show them Learning Assistant. Submitting for review, I would get them to do for every piece of work they're uploading. Okay, so you can then give them direct feedback on that piece of work. If they don't press that, unless they sign off an entire unit, you don't get a notification to say that they have done any work.
Okay.
Okay, so I would have that conversation with them to say, you know, every piece of work that you do, submit it for review so I can give you direct feedback. And then from you guys as an assessor, I would then say on that last piece of evidence that they've submitted, well done. I think Unit 302 is looking pretty good now. Can you submit your competency claim and I'll assess the unit as a whole? When you've done that and they, you know, they're happy to, then they can press submit your competency claim. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when they're pressing it for review, it's that piece of evidence singular. When they're submitting their competency claim, that's that whole unit. So in this case, 302.1. Okay. These.
So not the whole unit then, it's each learning lesson essentially.
That's the one. Yeah. Sorry, but yeah. So it's on that like whole page of work rather than an individual piece of work.
Right.
Yeah. So then black ticks in there are where the learner has cross-referenced. Like I say, they can be removed. Okay. So in this one, I'm going to save that. And Laura, just whilst you're on the line, you know, in the system admin side of it, where I said you can create your own forms.
Yeah.
That would sit in this recording forms bit.
Okay.
So if you were to design them questions and stuff, they would sit in here for them to fill out rather than upload.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'm going to submit my competency claim. Say, are you sure? And then yes. So it is now saying that that outcome has been submitted and is now waiting for review.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has anyone got any questions on that?
No.
No. I guess it's something that we'll find questions as we use it.
Yeah, and then, like I say, feel free to either get hold of Glasgow or myself. The only reason I say Glasgow's there is because when I'm out doing training, I don't look at my phone or my emails.
Yeah.
So that's why Glasgow are on hand all the time. So now, in my homepage, any individual pieces of work, I'm back in as the assessor now, by the way, any individual pieces of work that my learners have said, can you review that, it will sit in this top bit here. So let's go into this one here, for example. That will take me through to that evidence page. So you can click on it and feedback. Yeah. So description, not good enough.
Well, you're harsh, assessor.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I used to deal with chefs, so I have to be. Not good enough. Do some real work. You can ask the learner to acknowledge it. Again, you can reset an appointment, etc. And then you can save. So that now goes back to the learner to say that I've given them some feedback for them to have a look at. Okay. So that's your homepage for individual pieces of work feedback. But these bits here, where it's saying like we've just done in that unit 302.1, I've asked for that outcome to be looked at. So as an assessor, I click into that outcome, and it will bring me, like I say, to that same page that you've seen as the learner.
Yeah.
So it is very sort of, we match it the whole way along. This is where they've cross-referenced. So you just click on that red writing. Anything that's red writing is something you can click on in Learning Assistant. That's always good to know. And then you can open up that piece of evidence to have a look at it. Now, this is not a Learning Assistant thing. I just think it's quite good for people to know. If you don't know already, you can split screen. And please, I don't want to teach you to suck eggs, but I find that teaching some people this is quite useful. So if you want to have a look at the evidence and Learning Assistant at the same time, then if you just drag your document over to the edge until it shows that, like, if you can see that little outline as half the screen, and let go, and then you can click on Learning Assistant it will show Learning Assistant on one half of your screen and the evidence on this other half. I'm sorry if you already know that. I think it's just...
No, I didn't. That's it.
Yeah, so you can do it with anything on your laptop. It's not just like I say, it's not a Learning Assistant thing. But I just think it's quite good to give people that, because then they can have a look at it as they're going along, having a look at this piece of evidence, and then go, oh yeah, well that hits 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 as you're going along. So you can, it just makes it a little bit easier than flipping it up and down.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you would do is horizontally is a piece of evidence. So in this piece of evidence, I'm saying it achieves all of these, and that's why I'm turning them green, because I'm an assessor, so I'm turning them green.
Yeah.
But this piece of evidence, yes, it hits 1.1. Don't think it hits 1.2, so I can get rid of that black tick. So when that learner's cross-reference is black, and when you remove it, that's saying that no, it doesn't map into that at all.
Okay.
There is a question mark. I don't like the question mark. I don't think I should say that, especially when the webinar is recorded, but it's up to you how you use it. There's mixed messages on it. I think that if you're an assessor or an IQA, you're making a decision. It either achieves that or it doesn't, and you need more. Yeah. So I'm not sure I understand the question. Maybe it's because I don't understand the question mark. But you can have it. So you can either remove it, say yes, change it, question mark it. So that's horizontally for an individual piece of evidence. What I would say to help out IQAs is that once you've got enough to achieve 1.1, you tick the yellow box at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can tick that box and it marks all of them as complete. It just helps with the gap analysis document.
Yeah.
So when you click on gap analysis, if you haven't ticked that yellow box, it will still say it's missing something. So horizontally, it's saying what that piece of evidence achieves. Vertically, you're saying that that entire 1.1 has been done.
Okay.
Yeah, does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Yep.
So press save, and you will forget to press save all the time, because I normally do. It's just something I haven't got in my head, but press save, and it won't let you accept it basically if you don't. And then you can either accept or return that piece of evidence, that outcome. So if I now press accept, and accept and return bring up the same contact diary bits. So it says it's assessment feedback. Description, so outcome is complete. Feedback, well done. That's a bit nicer, isn't it? You can set up another meeting or appointment date. You can again acknowledge learners and managers' requirements. You can map it into different outcomes. If you look at that piece of evidence and you think actually they've covered a bit more in some other areas, you can map it across. You don't need to re-upload that evidence in other outcome areas. You can just do it in this. Again,
when it says on the entry, we've got quite a few of us are learner assessors. Yep. So for they need second line assessing. Yep. At the bottom then it requires secondary assessor.
Yeah, so you know when you upload your learners,
yeah,
and you have to put in your primary assessor.
Yeah.
All you would do to get a counter assessor is in that box underneath that drop down, you just allocate a secondary assessor to that.
Yeah.
And that's that person.
And as learner assessors, they should be put in require secondary assessor then for everything at the minute.
Yeah, because then your quality check is it will say to whoever the qualified assessor is, it will say you need to acknowledge this. So time and date stamps to say that yes, I've had a look at it and I'm happy with it.
Okay.
Okay, and then you would just save. Okay, so then that has now marked that outcome as reviewed and accepted. Oh, reviewed and accepted by this assessor on this date.
Lovely.
If you've got some IQA feedback to say that actually no, you need to do some more, or you've mismapped it or something like that, then what you would do is then you would go into that unit that needs editing and you would return it. and then say in there just return for IQA feedback, and then if it is so learner does not need to action. That's what I would recommend personally from using it, so that you can open it up again. Like you can open up that unit to be able to edit, but if your learner doesn't need to action or do anything, then just put that content in, and then it will open it up to say you can accept or return again, and you can add in. But what it does, it leaves a really nice audit trail in the contact diary. So it says, this person said not good enough, do some real work. Some more was done. They then had a look at it and marked it as complete. In between there, then it would say like IQA returned, and then here you've put return for IQA feedback, and then when you reaccept it, it would have your actions that you did.
Okay.
And when you accept or return things, you can at the top do learner and company won't see. So if you didn't want the learner to see that return, or you reaccepting it, you can tick that box and they won't see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Why would you not want them to see?
Well, it's someplace. So I've got centres at completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Some of them want learners to know everything that happens in IQAing, from the intricate details. Other centres don't want, they know their learners know that it needs to go through verification, but they don't need them to see the comments and stuff. So it's it's depending on your internal structure, really. Yeah. So then you have planned your work, the learner's done their work, and you've accepted or returned to carry on. Okay, the progression's moved up a little bit more. So I'm now at 65%. Because I've uploaded work to a variety of units, and my completed has gone up a little bit to 32% because my assessor has accepted some stuff.
Okay.
Have you got any questions on the process of uploading work and feeding back and planning?
The only one that I had was, if you are doing an assessor observation, do you do that as part of your feedback on your bit, or do you upload a piece of evidence on the learners?
As a qualified assessor to a learner assessor.
Either or.
So what I would do, because it's related to that learner, let me go into anyone. What I would do, because it's going to be linked to this learner's portfolio, isn't it? I would create a contact diary, create an entry.
Yeah. Because it's a piece of evidence rather than just feedback if you're doing an observation, isn't it?
So is this for your learner's observation or observing your trainee assessor?
So if as the assessor, I'm observing the learner,
right, okay,
do I do it as a piece of evidence? Sorry, I wasn't clear.
No. So you've got options. You can either type it up in a Word document or in a, whatever you like, or when you go Evidence Wizard, if you're just free typing, so it depends on how you do them, really. Some people use their own specific evidence forms. I used to voice record my observations and then just type up a bit of feedback. So you can do that, or if you want to type it on the laptop as you're going, you can create an observation.
Okay.
So you might title OBS on Unit 101, when that was, and then you would type in your observation as you're going on. My learner did da-da-da.
Yeah.
All your normal stuff. PPE, was polite, etc. And so that's your observation done, and you can say, observation is required. Type. Cross-reference. I've told you not completely wrong, but details is like your title, your description, and then your observation is where you would put in all your data, all your stuff.
Okay.
Sorry, Monday morning. And then save, and then your observation is loaded up as a piece of evidence.
Okay.
So then you
And
don't
then
have
if
to,
you
you don't
were
have to
assessing,
upload anything.
sorry, and then if you're doing an observation of a trainee assessor,
Yeah.
that's on their file rather than on the learner on their learner's file, is it?
Well, I have got a centre that do this quite well, actually. They go into the contact diary and they put it in the learner's portfolio, but make it so that the learner can't see. So they do it as private. And then the entry label, they put it as training.
Okay.
And then they will put trainee assessor obs, put in all the details and feedback and things. Don't fill out any of this bit at the bottom, but they require the assessor acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And then they would save that, because then when you're IQA, or if you're looking at what that observation was about, because you've put it into the outcomes that assessor was marking for the learner, if that makes sense, then that IQA or assessor or whoever it is looking at it is on the learner's portfolio to be able to see the observation, see the learner's work, have a look, see if they've fed back enough, see what they've done, and it all sits within that learner's portfolio, which is where you're going to be looking as a whole.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Obviously, if you've got a trainee assessor and they're doing TACWA or something and they are on as a learner themselves, then you could do it as a piece of evidence in their portfolio.
Yeah, I think that's how we would do it.
But if you're loading your TACWA team and your trainee assessors on here as a learner, then you just do it in theirs.
Okay.
Yeah, our TACWA centre in City and Guilds, my mum actually runs it. She uses Learning Assistant to do all of that. So she loads all of her TACWA team on, and then we'll do it in like the learners folder.
Okay.
Any questions from anyone else?
No.
No. Like I say, you'll get your login and a test learner. What I would recommend is kind of ignoring all the additional bits at the bottom. I would recommend you go into your test learner, set a plan, just for like one unit for now, set a plan, log in as your learner, acknowledge the text, accept the plan, upload your piece of evidence and map it across, log back in as the assessor, and then feedback and close off the unit. And then once you've done that process a few times, like that, it becomes quite a natural flow. Is that all right?
Yeah, thank you.
No, that's fine. Now, Laura, is IQA on this as well, or is it on a different
Yeah, no, we were
session?
doing that afterwards, so the assessors can go.
So do you want me to give you 15 minutes to grab a coffee or anything?
Perfect.
Yeah, all right. So I'll mute myself and I'll let you guys have a coffee for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back at 11:15.
Lovely, thanks.
Is that all right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
No worries. I'll speak to you all soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Hello? Kerry?
Yeah.
Kerry and John, you don't need to do the next wee bit.
Oh, excellent.
So thank you.
No problem.
Give me some time and I will send you through some logins and then you can have a play.
All right then, Brill. Thank you very
Right,
much.
cheers. Yeah, but do you want to do the next bit because you're going to do the IVing? Jeff?
Yeah.
Have you got time to stay and do this next bit because you're going to do your IV award?
Yeah. Am I?
Yeah,
okay.
all right.
I'll be back in court for now then.
All right then, see you shortly.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
It's a training course. Fair enough, Mike. It is. I mean,
we've answered that. We don't want to run basic court and say what she looked like when she was there. That an adult now, she was coming out when she isn't what she's like. So she sends back in Richard.
Yeah, I couldn't argue the point.
No, he doesn't just say, right, use master's number, right, what she looked like, you know, she knew she was coming. She knew she was coming, Jack. I told her she was coming. I told her what name was she could have run. But she couldn't remember, she could have run you, she doesn't have to.
I couldn't pull it because it's on policy.
I know, the policy is not because there's a bank, you know, how. Hannah's just wrong, she's walking down, she's got off the bus.
Okay.
The one was I think she was coming. What was I think she was coming? I don't know, you know, she was like. You know, name was on that. Don't what a name was. That's the thing with the outrageous that.
So yeah, you can get some money out.
Yeah, I'll be looking out there. You're right. Yeah, you can have it on the training. You don't like it. Yeah, no, that's all right.
That's what I couldn't answer in time.
Not doing training.
Hi, are you there?
Yep.
Hi, Jeff. Laura, are you back? Just see if
Just to let you know, I can see your email page.
that's all right.
Okay. Just so that you know.
Yeah, no, not a lot. Not a lot of interest on there, I'm afraid. Okay, we'll just give Laura a second. I suppose it's only 14 minutes past. I'll send her a message. Is it just yourself as an IQA, Jeff, or?
I believe so, yeah. That's my next step. I've been an assessor for quite a few years.
Oh, right, okay.
So,
Are you in training or are you qualified?
in training for
QA, or have you been qualified IQA
Yeah.
for a while?
No. I'm starting the training shortly, I hope.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah, I'm just completed an assessment of a manager.
Oh, great.
And yeah, the volume of paper was phenomenal. So I'm really pleased that we're doing it this way.
Brilliant.
So yeah, we printed off so much paper for a manager's award. It was, yeah, It was ridiculous, really.
Oh, really?
When,
Hopefully this will help.
the rest of my work, the company now uses a paperless recording system for children's homes.
Oh, okay.
It's called ClearCare.
Okay.
Actually, ClearCare could learn a lot from you, from this, because this is so slick, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's
Really is.
the first little bit that you use it, it's a bit like, oh, where do I press? But actually, yeah, once you kind of get into the habit of it, it's quite a straightforward
I'm sure,
process.
like all these things, once you start to use it, it will make sense. Well, I mean, it makes sense, but I can see that once you start to use it, it'll become quite clear what the next step is.
Yeah.
No, it's a really slick piece of software. This is massive.
Oh, it's good to
Hello,
hear.
sorry, I've had you on silent.
That's all right.
Laura, time is money.
Honestly, I've been sat here faffing about.
You were outside having a cigarette. Yeah, we know.
No, honestly, you've been on silent. Sorry.
Right, IQA. So is it just you guys? Yeah.
Yeah, there should be another, but for some reason she's not with us, but that's okay.
Okie dokie. So the IQA, because you've had a look at the assessor side, is quite a quick training session, which is nice because we, like I say, we try and keep it nice and straightforward. So the things that we need to look at is sampling summary and then the verification. First of all, I'm going to click on the verification side of things because it's so easy. You'll go, oh yeah, get it, and we'll move on. So verify tasks. Again, you've got your home page, your sample plan. So that's everything you've planned to sample. Straightforward. Oh, actually, let me go out. Sorry, I'm going to log in as my verifier rather than assessor and verifier. Maybe. Oh. Okay, so verify task. So your sample plan. This is everything that you've planned to sample in your sample plan. Anything that's red is overdue. If you've put in a date, anything that's white is obviously yet to be done, but is fine. So you can choose to put in a date or not, and it tells you what that learner is, the outcome that's been completed, the types of evidence that are in there, and then the little, I don't know how well you can see it, but the little lines on the left-hand side are blue when the learner has started the unit, grey when it's not been started, and green when the assessor has assessed the unit. Okay, you got awaiting verification, so that's when that learner has had a unit completely completed and verified, assessed, ready for you to verify, and referred as anything that you have referred back to that assessor to action. So that's your home page. Okay, so I'm going to go on to one of these. So any one you like. This one. This learner has got something that's been completed and it's on my sample plan to verify. So I'm going to click into that learner's unit. Course even. Again, you can see exactly the same as what you can as an assessor as well. Yeah. As you can see, you can verify and refer a whole unit at a time, but let's say you just want to do it for 201.1. You can click into that unit.
Yeah.
Same way, have a look at the evidence.
Yeah.
All you would do then is if you agree that all of these, they would be green, obviously, if the assessor had done it.
Yeah.
If you agree with everything, you make them pink.
Okay.
Okay. Oh. Okay. And you can IQA the whole lot as well. So you can do that and save it, and that will give you sort of like, you're acknowledging that they've been achieved. And then where you've got your accept or return as an assessor, you've got verify or refer. So same process, verify, it's automatically locked so the learner can't see because obviously it's feedback to your assessor. So verified, well done, clear, feedback, whatever you want to put for that assessor. Okay, you can require the assessor acknowledgement and save. So it's the same process as what you do as an assessor to make it nice and straightforward for you. Yeah, so now it's saying that that unit has been verified on that date by the verifier, and it sits within that contact diary, as does everything else.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's your summative verification. If you wanted to do an interim verification, then we'll go down to one that's been started. There we go, there's one that's been started there. So we've not had it sent off by the assessor. You can have a look at that and how they're getting on, and you can just exactly the same way do an interim verification of, you know, it looks like they're going on very well. Don't forget you might need this to add before you close it off, but you can just do it in that same way. So you can do interim and summative verification. Once you do that interim verification and completed, you can do that as many times as you like, obviously, and it will just tally up how many times that's been done. So if I go back to course and look at 210.1, 210.1, you can see there it says 1 interim verification.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see it's like the actual process of verifying is the same as assessing. So once you've done that process, it's exactly the same way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got any questions on the actual process of verification?
No,
Happy with that?
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is quite straight. If you've been in the assessor one, it's lovely. So sample summary. So sampling plans. These bits at the top are just ways that you can search your sample plans. So if you want to search a particular sample plan that you've done for a specific assessor, then you can just click on it and search, and you can see the sample plan that you've set up for that person. But the main bit you want to go is on the sample plans on the right hand side.
Okay.
Now you're either going to love or hate our sample plans. We are adding bits to them, and you'll love or hate it for the same reason. Because they're really straightforward. Some people want more information to be able to be put into them. Some people quite like that it's really straightforward. So it just depends on your point of view, but we are working on our IQA side to be able to input more and more information into it. But at the moment, it just looks like an Excel spreadsheet.
Both Jeff and I are new to IQAing, so we will just be starting doing it on this, so it will be all that we know.
Yeah, so that's good, because some people do overcomplicate sample plans. Coming from experience. So to do this, you go create sample plan and you would give it a name. So it might be customer service learners. Yeah. So sample rationale or strategy.
Yeah.
Oh, good spelling. Course template. So this is where you would, I think it's still go 5538. So it's a company. So if you want it for a particular company, you can, like employee, you can do. For a particular assessor, you can do. Include completed candidates, yes or no, and then you just press save. So once you've done that, you've set up the parameters for your sample plan, and then it's there. So you can delete them if you don't want to use them anymore, if you want to edit them, etc. But customer service learners, if I click on again on that red writing, you can see this learner is called ZZZZZ. All of the units within customer service are on here. And then anything that he has got to be able, that is open for him to do, will go in the grey units. So he's not selected any of these units. That's why they've got cross on them. Yeah, so it's a demo site. That's why it looks a bit sparse. But you can see the key down the bottom for your sample. But like you can imagine, this is an Excel document that all your learners down the left-hand side, all your units along the top. Anything you want to plan. So you want to plan up to see unit 201. So you click in the box, select for verification, yes. If you've got particular evidence types you want to see, you can click in that. If you've got an end date, you can click in that. But obviously not many people do an end date because you don't know when that's going to be covered across the course. And then you just press yes. And then you can see that little P says it's planned.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you have your sample strategy is to go diagonal across all different learners so that you cover each unit over a separate time. When you've got all your learners down there, you could go this person's 201, this one 202, this one 203, this one 204. Okay. So when people do that diagonal sample plan, or every other, then you can still do that.
Yeah, lovely.
The only thing that you can't do, which we're getting as soon as we can, we're building it in the background now, is you can only plan to sample a whole unit here. You can't plan to sample outcomes, which is quite annoying, because a lot of people do want to go down into that detail. But at the moment you can only plan to do it as a unit. In the past, Learning Assistant was kind of built from team and then just feedback from centres. Myself and Simon, who is another DSM, we've both been Assessor and IQA, so we've been able to feed in, them additional bits that you'd probably want to see. So now they're building that in that way, so you will be able to plan interim and into units soon enough, but at the moment it's planned unit as a whole, and then you just choose your strategy based on that. Chosen it all, then as you can see, very straightforward. You've got your colour coding here, that if that unit was verified, it would be pink. Because if you planned it, it would be light pink if you'd verified it, but you hadn't planned it. Green would be completed by the assessor. So you can see that it would just change its colour as you're going along. So if I try actually and do create a sample plan. I think if I do the second one, then there should be some more learners on it. There we go. So you can see all the colours within this one. Okay. So that's started by the learner, done by the assessor. So if I wanted to plan going diagonal, you can hold down control as well.
Okay.
So you can highlight them all as you're going along.
Right.
Yeah, and then select the verification. Yes, you might select them all because you want to see all types of evidence types. You want it all to be done by 2020 because that's when the learner's on till, and you can press save. And then all of those have now been planned to be verified. Brilliant. That's now V in bright pink because it's been planned and it has been verified. Before that, it was that baby pink because it hadn't been planned. So you can kind of see it as quite and you can export it as a PDF or as an Excel document as well. So does that make sense? You happy with that?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So that is, when I say it's simple, that is as crazy as our IQA side gets.
Brilliant.
So it's nice and simple, and then on your homepage, all of those ones that you've planned will now sit on your homepage. Okay. Yeah, so this will always be in date order if you have planned it, for you to work from the bottom up. And then down here awaiting verification, because they're not things that you've planned, but they're things that you can verify. They'll just go in learner alphabetical order.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions?
No.
What I would say is, yeah, you can. I know it's crazy, isn't it? So that the sampling summary bit, you can only do that once you've got some live learners on the system. So what I'd say is get all your learners on, get your assessors starting to do a little, some bits of work, and then, in a couple of weeks or so, when everyone's on and active, then create your sample plan. If you need a refresher and you want me to get on a webinar or something, then let me know. But yeah, you can't do that on any test learners, so you can't really test to do a sample summary until you've got active learners on. So yeah, get your learners on as an assessor and all of that stuff, and then a week or so later down the line, then start looking at putting your sample plans together.
Lovely.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Fabulous.
So I'll download this and change it into like a YouTube video because it's too big for me to send as a MP4 type file. So I'll download it and send it to you, Laura, so that you've got this recording for everyone, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. Is there anything else that you need whilst I'm on?
Well, yes, because I've been having a look and I have been setting people up.
Yeah.
As system admin. I don't know if you can help me with this. And you'd said to do them, and so I've got my assessors on there, and then add new learner. So I've enrolled with test learners.
Yeah.
Ticked the box for enroll with test learners.
Yeah.
Some of them haven't appeared on the test learners bit, and then if I try to delete them to make them live learners, it doesn't allow me to do that.
So have you changed learner status to test learners?
Some of them are as test learners.
Yeah.
But if I view them, so I can see all of my learners, but my test learners.
Yeah.
So Henry, Jess and Leanne, for example, they're both assessors in training, so they're learners and assessors.
Yeah.
So I've done their assessors one just as normal, and then their 2 learner logins as test learners for them to have a go.
Yeah.
One of them is missing, so I have enrolled John as a test learner. He's not on there. And then when I try to make them as a live learner, it doesn't
so
allow
you have to do it. Yeah. So if you want to, your test learner has to stay a test learner. If you want them to be a live learner, you need to re-enroll them as a live learner.
Okay, but it won't let me use the same login.
No, it's just so that it doesn't. It's to do with your licensing, so it doesn't charge you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why can't I see one of them then? Because I've literally just done it.
And you made him as a test learner?
Yeah.
And you want to use your system admin?
Yeah.
And you've changed learner status from active to test?
Yeah. He's not in active and he's not in test either.
Can you click on, I think it says not enrolled?
Ooh.
Is he there?
Oh, there he is.
So that's because you've not enrolled him on a course. So then on the right hand side, I think it says action, and you can and you can put edit enrollment.
Yeah.
God, I'm seeing learning assistant in my eyeballs. Let me log out and go into it. That's really sad, isn't it? That I could literally describe it to you.
But then when I try to enroll him on a course, it won't. So I can do. Oh, let me just delete him and I'll start him again. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Thank you very much.
No, that's all right.
One of us was going to break it.
If you can, the developer says that she's going to take someone out for lobster dinner if you can break it, so I'm trying really hard. Please let me know. Because anything that does break, they can fix, which is really annoying. I just want some lobster. So let me know if you need anything else, and I'll get that all sorted for you. All right.
Will do. So the test learners, you can just have a play, have a go at stuff, and that doesn't mean anything.
No,
but when it's a real learner site, then whatever goes on there is real for everyone to see. Lovely.
All right.
Brilliant. Cheers, Amy.
No worries. Take care, everyone.
Amy.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.